All right, everyone, on this episode of Building the Exocet, I'm going to let you know what I have chosen for my transmission for my Exocet. So first off, sorry about the audio. I lost my GoPro adapter for my external mic, so hopefully it's not too bad for you. Now, those of you who saw my last video saw that my transmission in my Turbo Exocet had an unfortunate incident at the last autocross. Pretty much completely shredded second gear and the input gear in the stock Miata 5-speed transmission. Everything else seems to be fine with the car, just dealing with the transmission. So, with turbo Miatas, there's always this issue where a lot of people say the stock 5-speed's good to around about 225, 250 horsepower, foot-pounds of torque, right in that range. Then, they say the Miata 6-speed's good till 300-ish, maybe a little more. There's a couple other swaps too that people have done. The K-Miata swap, which uses a Getrag, a BMW transmission. There's an RX-7 swap going to, I think that's the complete differential transmission. I don't know if it's custom driveline or not. And out of a Mazda RX-7 that's a little more powerful, or excuse me, a little more robust than the Miata transmissions are. And so it's a common problem. A lot of guys, if they're putting a lot of boost in the car, really upping the horsepower of the cars, tend to break transmissions. Now, I was not surprised that it broke, rather I was surprised at how quick it broke. I think right now I'm in about the 220 wheel horsepower range. I'm on a stock 1.8 motor running about 12 PSI of boost on a pretty retarded timing scale. It's pretty scaled back. So it's the timing, I'm hitting boost pretty late. There's not a lot of timing in the engine, and I'm running it a little bit richer than it probably should be, just to be able to have a little bit of safety there, as it hasn't been dyno tuned at this point. So I was just rather surprised that this happened this quick. About 150 autocross runs. The car has 354 miles on it. It's not a lot of time, but it was an unknown transmission. So I didn't know, it came from the donor car. I wasn't sure how. I was told it was a 1.8 transmission. I didn't know how many miles it had on it. Didn't feel great sometimes going into second gear. There was a little bit of maybe of a grind, but ran fine. There was absolutely zero clue that it was going to give up like it did. So basically, I'm going to show you guys today what I chose for the transmission for the car. Now, number one, everyone said on the last video and on my Instagram page, go to the Miata 6-speed transmission. And yes, that's a very suitable choice. It's supposedly quite a bit stronger. A lot of people have had better luck with it. However, the major issue with that is gearing. So in autocross, really our ideal goal is to have a very, very tall second gear. Meaning, if we can get up to about 65, 70, 75 or more mile per hour in second gear, that's great, because then that allows us to not have to shift into third. And so a normal person with a Miata, or probably even a turbo Miata, may say, oh, that'd be fine in autocross, because it'll still get up to, I think it's 50 miles an hour or so at the 6-speed in second. For me, however, right now I'm topping out with a 410 Torsen diff. I'm topping out around 61, 62. And while that may sound great, and a lot of people think, hey, that's fine, I never had that problem, a Turbo Exocet is quite a bit faster than most every other car at the events I go to. And we tend to run fairly tight courses, but I find I have yet to see, unless it's on a very small course, myself not having to shift into third, or at least not bouncing repeatedly off the rev limiter for a couple seconds in one or more spots on just about every course. So really my long-term goal is to go with about a 3.6 rear end in the car. That should hopefully get me into the low 70s for mile per hour. Obviously that will reduce the acceleration quite a bit, but power is not the problem. I can always leave the power level the same, and basically just be able to have my foot planted a lot more often than I do now. So the 6-speed was automatically just out. I never even considered it for a second. Everyone was telling me, oh, that's the way to go, that's the way to go. And yeah, it is, except for in my particular case and how I use the car. So the next option is going to the K-Miata Getrag swap. I think that's how you say Getrag. I don't know. I'm not a BMW guy. But, that is a very robust transmission. A good low mile one can be sourced for sometimes several $100s, but about the $1,000–1,500 range. I was finding a few options for a pretty good transmission. However, we get into number one, cost. Your $3,000 for the Miata swap kit, and then you're another $1,000–1,500 for the transmission. Then you have to do another about $500 or more clutch kit. So you're talking about $5,000 really, all in or more. And some of the people like Car Passion Channel, if you guys follow his, you've seen his vibration issues he's had with the kit. That really scared me off. As well as the other thing is, I'm back to gearing issues with the BMW transmission. Well, it's better than the Miata 6-speed. I think it was still looking like about 55, 58 miles an hour in second gear with my current rear end. Obviously, you know, there's changing ring gears and going to something a little bit taller. You know, there's a few other options, upping the red line, you know, doing some head work to get a little bit better at that. But just pairing up, you know, the cost of that swap and then the issues with the gearing, it just didn't make sense to me. So that comes to really the last option for me was then going to a 5-speed. And this one also doesn't make a lot of sense because I just broke a 5-speed. So why would I go back and do it again? So, you know, one of the issues is the 5-speed's weaker. Supposedly the MB ones are a little stronger. MB2s are a little bit stronger. Each kind of iteration of the 5-speed from my research got a little bit better. I mean, just some minor improvements to make it a little stronger. But it's still a weak transmission. The gearing is good. That's the one plus, but I'm always going to have problems with that. So now comes the time. I've talked long enough. What did I choose to go to for my transmission? Well, let me grab the camera and I will show you guys. All right, are you ready? Here it is. Another Miata 5-speed. And you're probably all going, what in the heck? You just broke this. Why are you getting another one? Well, the truth is, this was a NB1 out of a 2000, I think that's NB1 out of a 2000 car with about, I think it was high 70 miles, 79,000 miles on it. And I got it for $250. I hope it's good. I hope I don't break it again. But here's the real reason I chose to go to the 5-speed again. A little further inspection, I found out I actually had a 1.65 speed in my previous, in the car previously. A couple things after I cracked open the transmission, I found the gears are about a millimeter thinner than the 1.8. There's also just some, there aren't some cooling passages machined into it that are machined into the MB boxes. And also the MB boxes are supposed to be a little stronger. Now, maybe this is all hearsay. Maybe I'm totally wrong. But this is what my research showed me. And honestly, I think the route I'm going to take on this one is I'm going to stick with this 5-speed. And I'm going to run it next year and we're going to see how it goes. And if after 100 runs it blows up again, I'm probably going to throw another one in just to finish out the season or two. And then gets the hard part. Then I have decisions to make. So then I have to decide, do I keep buying 5-speeds and keep a pallet of them in my garage like some guys do? Do I try the Walter Motorsports upgrade? Maybe, but I've been hearing some negative things on that too from some Exocet guys that have blown them up, more than one. And so then I get into purchasing Quaife billet gears for the 5-speed and having a, you know, somewhat built 5-speed done, or going crazy on that end. I don't know. There's other options there. And then the final option is, if I keep breaking 5-speeds, I might just pull the turbo off the car. I hate to even go there because I know that's like horrible. Why would I do that? I'm an idiot. But you know what? A non-turbo Exocet's still a fun car. It's still a very fun car at autocross. I've driven one. I liked it. It's definitely not as intense as the turbo Exocet, but it's a little more friendly to drive, and frankly, stock ECU, you know, everything's stock. The thing will still kick butt, and it'll be pretty darn reliable. So, anyways, so this is the new transmission for next season for the Exocet. Hopefully going in the next couple days here. No, this one will not be painted. like the last one, because honestly, I like things nice and clean and shiny and bright, but as much time as it takes and as quickly as the last one blew up, I just don't think it's worth it. So anyways, so you know, it's Thanksgiving weekend. I got all the seals replaced in this. I got the clutch back in the car. Basically tomorrow, hopefully I'm gonna get this bad boy in the car, ready to go. And we're gonna see what happens. So stay tuned, guys. I got a lot coming up this off season, few major modifications I'm making to the car, some dash stuff, new turbos going in, probably in the next video you see. And we're gonna go from there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I wasn't too long-worded for you guys in this one. I'll see you in the next one.